Welcome back to my channel, day 7 of 100 Flask blog from scratch. Today we are covering logging. As the application grows, you want to make sure that you are logging the activity that's going on in your app. You log when people log in, when they attempt to log in, the pages that they visit, if there is errors. You want to log everything in your application, especially when the application is in production. Now we are just working the application locally, so it doesn't really matter. The logging doesn't really matter at this stage. But when you host the application in a real server and other users are logging in and they are posting something, they are interacting with the application, you want to log all the activity as an administrator, because sometimes some users would email you and they would have problems with certain pages and certain functionality. So you want to go at the back end of your server and look all the logs that was happening. So in order to do logging for our application, you open the init file for the application. Here I already did that, and you import a logging. You import OS. We import OS because we want to create the logging folder to store all the logs. And you import this file, which will contain the message. So you scroll down, and here, when the application is in production, you would say if the application is not in debug mode and the application is not in testing mode, the application will log all the activity. Otherwise, it will ignore it, because you don't need logging if you're already testing the application, or if you are in a debug mode. It doesn't really matter whether there's errors or not, because you're already working on the application, right? We create the folder. If the folder logs doesn't exist, we create logs folder that will store all the files, all the log files. Here, we create the file itself, and the file will be called app.log. And it will only have 10 kilobyte. It will only have 10 files, and the files will be rotated. The oldest will fall off, because we don't want the application logs to have hundreds and thousands of files that will clog the entire application. We don't want that. We're only interested in the last 10 logs, and that would be more than enough for any decent application. Here is the actual message that the error would take. Here the timestamp will be shown, the level will be shown, and the name and the message. And here is the registering the level of the error. Info is decent. There is debug. There's other kinds of errors, but info is good. It will tell you what you want to know without actually overwhelming you. The other, here we just registered. We set up the file, log file, and we set up the log file to the app in these both lines. You would go to the blueprint. I'm using the main blueprint, but you can attach the logs to any blueprint that you want. For this tutorial, I just want to show you how to log the user logging in, logging out, and the user visiting different links in the main blueprint. Here at the top, what you would do is you would import the logging, and then you would set up the logger here, and each function or each route, you would add the logger. Here in our index route, we say the user access the main index, and we will show their name and the page that they accessed and the time. Here in the about function or route, we log the user activity. We say about page accessed by the user, and we get the IP address of the user. If you ban a user and the user is returning in different IP addresses or suspicious IP addresses, this would track that. This would tell you that. And here the logout route, it tells you, it logs the user logged out, and it tells you the name of the user here when they log out. But now it will not work. If we run the application now, the logging will not work. And the reason is this if state. This code will only execute when our application is actually in production and it is a remote server and everyone else can access it. In order to test our logging functionality, what we will do is we will comment this and we will say if true. We essentially log everything regardless of the state of our application. So if we run our application and we go to the main index, there's nothing different. You will not notice any different as a user, and we go to about page, or we go to, let's say we want to go to the user profile. So we did that, and we log out also. So if we go to our app day 7, here you can see logs is created, a logs folder is created, app.log is also created, and here is what we did, what the user did. Right? The level is info, and here is the timestamp. It is May 27th, the time I am recording this video, and here is the first time the user goes to the app startup, then the user goes to the main blueprint, it goes to the user max, access the index page 1, then the user went to about page, my IP address is here, and the user max log out, it tells me the user logged out. This is how you log everything. So we will change this back to the production if statement, but for our testing purposes, we just said if true to catch all the errors while we are testing the application. Thank you for watching, and I hope you find this helpful. And if you did, please give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. You will find the source code in the description below.